Okay, I'm going to show you how to create a Google network in this video with Terraform and Terraspace. For that, we're going to use a couple of components. The first component is the Google Compute Network. This is essentially like a container that encapsulates and contains all the other network components, okay? The second component is a Google Compute Subnetwork. So this is just like a resource you use to create subnets, and we're going to create some custom subnets with custom CIDR ranges in this video. The last component is a Google Compute Router NAT. And the reason this component is important is because if you have VMs with only private IP addresses, the only way they can get to the internet is through a NAT gateway, essentially. So this NAT right here, it allows those instances, those VMs, to be able to talk to the internet. And the reason is, VMs with only private IP addresses, it has no public IP address by definition. So how does the rest of the world know what IP address it has? Well, it does that by going through this NAT gateway. It goes through the NAT. The NAT would then basically tag the traffic, and then the rest of the world will see the IP address as the NAT IP's address, the NAT's external public IP address. Then once that return traffic comes back, that NAT is going to reroute it back to the private IP address. So that's what the purpose of NAT is, and it's pretty useful for networks. Okay, I want to show you that right now I just have the default network. I have no other networks yet. Okay, and for this, I wrote the code already, okay, just to speed this all up. Okay, so basically here is the Google Compute Network, and here's a variable here called network name, and so we're gonna have to assign that. Routing mode is regional. I'm just creating a regional network here, and Google Compute Network. Okay, so subnetwork, I mean. So there's two of these, so I won't explain these two. So for Google networks, they're actually pretty simple. All you do is actually specify at least one, basically like app kind of. I'm putting app in quotes here because you can name this whatever you want. You can name it main. All you really need is one subnet that's going to host all or contain all your VMs. Okay, so and the reason why I use Google this way is because Google's networks are so dynamic. You could actually just add more ranges at any time you want. Okay, you don't actually have to define your subnets actually as far ahead of time as you do with actually ADOS and VPCs actually. So I found this actually to be a good enough design. And then Google Compute Subnetwork, you do need a special one for proxy. So it's called proxy because that's what the docs kind of call it. And basically this is a special subnet you have to create if you're using HTTPS internal load balancers. If you're using that, then you need to have this subnet, or else when you spin up that load balancer, it's going to ask for it and it doesn't have one, then it's automatically create it. I'm just creating it ahead of time here because it's nice to have that little control over that. Okay, and you can see these variables for the ranges right here: var proxy CIDR range and var app CIDR range. So this is a pretty simple design, okay, with actually no loops or no loops here at all, no for each. And because I'm doing this just to focus on exclamation, okay, and but I think this is actually a quite powerful design actually. Just even though this is only a tutorial, this actually work for a lot of use cases. Lastly, here's the compute router, and then the compute router NAT. So you have to create a cloud router, and then that cloud router's reference here. See, Google Compute Router, this name. And here's the NAT right here, okay? So that's gonna allow basically, again, VMs with only private IP addresses talk to the rest of the world. So most of this is exclamation. The codes are here. I could just actually go in here now and go Terraspace up network. And it's just doing Terraform apply right now. And then you can see that it's gonna create all these components, and then we just type yes. And fortunately, networks actually create pretty quickly with Google. So this is only take about 30 seconds to a minute or so to create all these components. And then we'll be good. Let's see what else I want to explain here. All subnet ranges, okay. So yeah, these are the main components. Like I said, this is just from working with Google. What I thought good components are that you should have in your network at the minimum here. And it's actually good to start off with only these components, so then you can kind of establish the network fundamentals and how actually Google works and everything. Okay, we can see the network creating, the subnet created, the app subnet basically is completed, the proxy is completed, and the router, it looks like it's still creating the router still. So you can get there it is. And it took, like I said, 30 seconds to a minute. So here it took about 52 seconds to create all those components, so that's great. Okay, so let's actually verify the components exist now. Let's go back here, hit refresh. Now you can see the network is down here called dev. Oh, you know what I should have also show you is my TF-vars, right? So my TF-vars here, the vars file I used for this network was a dev name right here, okay? And also the app side range, I just chose the easy one, a 10.0.0./16, and the proxy range is the next one over, .1 here. So I just chose something easy, okay? And the other ones were kind of optional, okay? So should have explained that, but yes, those are the TF-vars I use in this project right here. You could change it for your needs, so it's pretty easy to change this too, okay? And then refresh here, we got the dev now. With the dev, remember it's prefixed by the name here, and you do want to prefix it because when you use commands like gcloud, it's useful to actually know the full name here. And it's interesting, the gcloud command will, even though this is kind of underneath this and containing here, this is actually globally kind of scope in terms of name usage. So if you name this app, you can't name an app anywhere else. So it really makes sense to prefix all your subnet names with the name of the network, okay? So this is dev app and this dev proxy. So let's just click on this guy, and then you can see, okay, that's what the network, the subnet looks like. And then you click on the dev proxy, and you can see that this one's kind of it says the proxy only subnet reserved for internal HTTP load balancing. That's because the configuration we had right here, okay? Internal HTTPS load balancer, okay? Then the last thing I kind of want to do is click on this, okay? Okay, if you click on that, you can see kind of here are the networks also, and you can see that in this interface, it kind of shows us that that the dev proxy is a reserve for internal load balancers. So the other thing I want to show you is the routers, okay? So let's go actually take a look at the router. You click on this, you click on networks, right? And then click on, where is it? Let's see. It's there's under hybrid connectivity right here. There's cloud routers. I don't know why they put it there, but that's where it is. So here is basically the cloud router right here. If you click on the router, then you can see actually the NAT right here, okay? So that's cool, pretty cool. Then you click on the NAT. The NAT is under network services, cloud NAT. So then they put the NAT under network services too. So it's kind of in different menus. So basically, one's under network services, one's under interconnect, and one's under VPC network, okay? But here's the router right here, and this is the router that we just created via basically Terraform and Terraspace there, okay? So just to review, we've created the network, we've created the subnets, okay? And we created the router, and we also found where they are in the interfaces, okay? Okay, last step I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and tear down this network just to complete this exercise. So I'm gonna go Terraspace down and press enter. And it's pretty quick to destroy too, but once I get this process going, I think that's good enough. Okay, so it's destroying, I say yes, I wanna destroy everything. And now it's just destroying all the resources that we just kind of created there. So that was pretty much it. Showed you how to create a Google network. There's a couple of different pieces here, okay? So hopefully that was really helpful. Okay, cheers.